Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. I hope that wherever you are in the world you are having a fabulous day. Now we have seen this before. I know we have seen this before, and I promised you that I would come back and show you a flip through when it was complete. And it is, for all intents and purposes, complete. There's a bit of a story to it, but I will share that as we go along. This is my Leuchtturm 1917 bullet journal, which I started using over again at the start of this year, 2018. And obviously we are now in September. By the time you see this, it's probably going to be September. So it goes through to the end of May. So it's a little bit late, but I've been slowly working on it and getting it finished and done. So without further ado, let's walk through it. I'm not going to go through the first part because you guys have already seen that flip in previous videos from when it was my bullet journal at a previous time in 2016. You guys have seen all that before. So if you're interested, I will leave the link for that other video down below. But I'm going to start from 2018, where I sort of went back to bullet journaling after a bit of a hiatus. And my plan was that I was going to pre-draw up every single spread for every single day in this Leuchtturm, and then just fill it out at the day as the day comes, so that I could be as creative as I wanted without feeling the pressure of the time constraint. So that was the idea. That was the experiment of this journal. So I flipped through this journal before the pen when it was just the layouts and it was blank, and I promised you guys I would come back and flip it after I'd filled it out, and you can see how well I did or did not do. So clearly for January I didn't fill out the goals. I've got here the birthdays, which was the whole point of what these calendars were, my family birthdays. The first weekly spread. A lot of this is just going to be my writing. Here we go. Over the New Year period, we went to visit my brother in Newcastle. So I've got a photo of my kids in here with the sprocket, my HP sprocket, and a little bit of journaling. And then here another photo down there. We also picked up our puppy River from the breeder while we were in Newcastle visiting Cam and Elise. So here's a photo of Piper at the breeders with our beautiful girl before we brought her home. Here, a little bit of journaling, a photo of me and Hubs, and then a shopping list on the back. Then this one here flips out, but as you can see, this is a bit of a fail. I didn't quite make that one. And I've got over here now just a to-do list. Baby girl, if you're going to play your Game Boy, can you turn the volume down, please? Because Mummy's doing the video. Thank you. Alright, so here is just filling in. I did some art. You can turn it a bit more up if you move and sit sort of just over there, because otherwise everyone will hear your beautiful music and I won't be able to finish what I'm saying. Thank you, good girl. Sorry guys, mum duties. So here I did a really nice little, I say really nice, I was pretty happy with how it turned out. I just did a doodle and some sketching and sort of coloured in with some markers. These are me trying to get used to my Copic markers and sort of blend them, and it sort of did and it sort of didn't work. Yeah.
What's doodle?
The picture. It's not an actual doodle. Doodle is another word for when you draw something. Not like a boy's doodle. Science lesson 101. Use your terminology correctly.
Mummy, sometimes girls can have a doodle.
Really? Okay. Well, I'm making a video now. Can you keep your science chat to yourself? Sorry, everyone. Biology. Here is another weekly layout, which you can see I actually color-coded at this point. So green is a task that's for the family. Pink is a task for me. Blue is something specifically for River. And then the pale blue is for Orion and the purple is for Piper. That's sort of what I was doing there. These just got filled out. They were just very practical, just filling them in, filling them in. I had sort of pre-stamped, and you know, there's all sorts of things here like some maths and spotlight trips and that sort of stuff. So it's pretty basic. I added a sticker there. So you can see that I just sort of didn't I just didn't always decorate it. Here's a photo on the back of this and a watercolor picture of a mermaid that I started and didn't quite finish, but you know, she's all right. Another weekly here, and then the dailies. I found as I went on that I was pretty much repeating myself from weeklies to dailies. Here's Orion with little baby Riv Riv. So one thing I don't do now after this, one thing this experiment proved to me is that I don't need the weekly. Which sounds funny because I know a lot of people plan with just weeklies, but I actually need the dailies. I need the extra room, and the weekly was just redundant. Towards the end of this, you'll see that I wasn't even using the weeklies, I just stopped. So here on this notes page, I've got, this is actually a swatch out of the Campfire Glow set. They're handmade watercolors from Designs by Rachel Beth. And then here I did a dragon out of the top of the city because why not? And then there's a random picture of Marshy and our little baby girl when she was still tiny. She's a golden retriever, so she is no longer this small. So there's that. So then here, another weekly. You've seen the Riv Riv baby. Mummy's trying to do a video, sweetie.
Cute.
She is cute, isn't she?
Yeah.
Okay. So here, some artwork from my children. Don't ask me how that happened, but obviously they borrowed the pen. I ordered some tea that day, obviously, and stuck the tea in. And then here, just more filling in. This notes section got... So I wanted to come back and fill all these pages in before I filmed this flip, but some of them obviously haven't been done. And in the end, I just sort of thought, you know what? This is how it is. This is how it turned out, guys. So February also did not fill out my goals page, and I did put the birthdays in, but I don't recall referencing it. The weeklies, I'm still using them here. Here is something I stuck in. Oh yes, this was the letter from Piper's kinder teachers because she was starting kinder at the start of February. So that is in there, and then it just flips down for that. So then here I've got a business card, and then just notes as a birthday invite that I sort of stuck in. Then some art that I did on this particular notes page, which full points if you can get all of the nerdy references here. So I've got a Pikachu, I've got Navi and the Triforce from The Legend of Zelda, and then over here, this quote, "To the stars who listen and the dreams that are answered," is actually from the series A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas, which if you have not read that, highly, highly recommend. Excellently written, and it's a great story, but really inspiring as a writer as well. She does a brilliant job. So once again, just filling out the dailies. And I actually found that I was less productive when I wasn't doing the creative stuff. I assumed that if I pre-filled out all the creative stuff and all I had to do was write in it, that I would be more productive. But I wasn't, because it wasn't fun. I didn't get to do the fun stuff. I'd already done the fun stuff. So I worked out, probably fairly quickly that the experiment, whilst it was cool, wasn't working out quite the way that I had hoped. Because all I was literally doing was writing, and I was less inspired to write in it because I wasn't, sort of doing it as I was going and sort of putting that energy in it. I had a prettier finished product because I had spent the time setting it up, but I didn't want to use it as much as one that I was writing on the go. So there's that. It's a photo of my babies. See here, this weekly layout, I didn't even bother. Here I got a postcard from one of my Inkies. So shout out to my Inkies, which is, I am a patron of Courtney Diaz, or Little Raven Ink, on Patreon. So I'll link her channel down below if I remember. If not, Courtney, I love you. Great work. Here I've got an appointment reminder tucked in with some notes. And then more writing. A recipe that I got from Nana. She made these cute little like cheesy scone things. They were great. So I wrote that down. March, also didn't write out the goals. And I didn't do the birthdays either. So clearly I'm excellent at that. I did use this one. that weekly. Then I've got, oh, can't turn the page, notes here that I've filled in. And then here, this was a brochure of some sort. Oh yeah, Piper's Kinder photos. There we go. Obviously I had to pick them up that day. Then under here, I've got a photo of me and Mum. And then under here, under this flip up, I've got a photo of Piper and my Nana. So she's my Nana, not Piper's Nana, my Nana. So my Mum's mum. So on this page, you have got not 5, 4 generations. So she is 92 and she is fabulous. And we're very lucky that we still have her around and I cherish her every day. So writing here, I've got a recipe, which I actually didn't fit on the page and had to tape on a supplement. And then there's a photo of me and Piper underneath. So these were brownie cookies apparently, which sounds really good. And I haven't written a note on how delicious they were or were not. But it's a Donna Hay recipe. But I might have to make those, and because I can't remember. So here's another weekly. And then some filling out. This is when I started using collage sheets from Courtney's Patreon, as well as some of my journal cards. There's Orion and Riv Riv. You can see she's starting to get bigger there. And then under here. And then under here. Didn't even fill that one out. I thought it would be easier to be more creative and that it would inspire me to do more, but it didn't. In the end, I actually felt a bit disenchanted because I was like, oh my God, I've got an empty thing. And, you know, whatever. It is what it is. This one I did write in. Here I got another postcard from one of my inkies. Shout out there. There's a birthday invitation for Piper. And then another journal card here. So this one was fun, how it flips and flips and flips and flips. I liked how that worked out, but I could have quite easily done that and still drawn it on the fly, if you know what I mean. So there. Here are some authors and novel series that my mum was telling me that I might want to look into. So I made some notes on those. Weekly, dailies. Once again, I just wrote in these. This one flipped down and there's a photo of Piper and Riv. And clearly I gave her her advocate on that day and her Fenpra, because that's stuck in there. This one folds down and there's Orion with Riv Riv. She's slowly getting bigger. Hopefully that was in frame. Just. And some more notes here. I was buying presents and working out River's food and all sorts of things. Another weekly. I think that photo was there before. This was one of my favourite spreads in the whole journal. They are Courtney's collage sheets again. And this is my favourite spread in the whole book because I thought it was really funny. I'm a huge Zelda fan. I'm a huge nerd. I love Pokemon. I love The Legend of Zelda. I play World of Warcraft. Yep. When I was a kid and everyone had posters on their walls of the boys they were going to marry, mine were Link from The Legend of Zelda, Cloud from Final Fantasy VII Advent Children, and Leonardo the Ninja Turtle. So there you go. Share, right? Here is River again, my little baby girl. And then that was just a journal card I made with one of Courtney's collage sheets. This here, I was so excited about this page. And I had this tag and I didn't even write on it. So you know what? There you go. It happens, peeps. So here I've got another recipe. Chocolate vanilla brulee cheesecake. It took ages to cook apparently. I don't remember it being earth-shattering. Another Donna Hay recipe. Here, Orion wrote me a note. Something about Patch. Oh, this is from Christmas. I must have found it from our elf on the shelf. Patch was thanking Santa for something. Here, just filled it in. Here's another photo of Riv and Piper, and clearly my to-do list didn't end up going there. And then over here, all that washies. Stay down. Here is my two babies, and then Piper by herself on the back. And then this one was cool. I thought it looked like a bit of a jeans pocket with these two tags. And wrote on one, not the other. So this is the risk you take. This was the point where I was starting to realize that the experiment was only partially working and that I would probably be better off going back to doing the journal from scratch in the future because I didn't use up half my stuff. Here's an Easter card that Orion wrote. Instead of to mummy, I'm Samantha, but that's okay. Oh, God. Peanut butter and parsley. Oh, these were dog biscuits. But for some reason, they went moldy really fast. Like, I let them completely dry out, and I put them in a cupboard, and I did everything, and, like, 2 days later, they were moldy. So, yep, didn't make those again. April, also, no birthdays, no goals. I'm winning at life, guys. These were my favorite weeklies. So even though I was really over the weeklies by then, I made a point of filling them out because I loved these so much when I did them. They were so pretty. And then here is Ataraxia. This was one of my other favorite spreads in here. And then, that opens this way. This is Piper and Bronwyn. You've heard me talk about Bronwyn. There she is. Hi, Bron. Once again, didn't fill out that or journal in it excellently. That one either. There's Piper and my sister-in-law. So there's Auntie Lisi. Oh, I made a cake for Erin's baby shower. There's some photos of that there. And then there's my little dragony guy with some notes. My favourite teas there. And then another one of these weeklies. Over here, I stuck in this ancient tag from, like, gosh, when I was a kid. Mum found it somewhere when she was moving house. It's a photo of me and Orion. And a little dragon in the middle there. And some doodling. And then here is my Designs by Rachel Beth business card and the little note that she sent me. Her paints are great. I really like them. And then here I did some leaves. And then that's just notes. And that had an envelope with tags in it, but I don't think that I wrote on them. I wrote on one, not the other. So Friday got the love, but not Saturday. That's probably why Saturday's on top. Some bubbles and stuff around here. I drew me a little... Clearly I didn't write anything on that day, and I've obviously just gone, it's a rainy day and I'm going to stay inside. So here I've got a little kitty dragon thing. He was cute. And I had so much trouble drawing him on top of the... Don't do that again. The glitter made it really hard. Anyway, whatever. This one didn't really get used. Yep, no, we're back at school by then. Here I've got a photo of me and Piper. Just notes, some stickers. And then into this pocket. Oh, I loved this. I was so happy with how that turned out. And then in here, my list. So obviously my whole day just went on there, and it was just notes. Just notes, no journaling, or, I thought I would write something and slip it in there. Anyway, I didn't. Orion's pediatrician appointment and a journaling card with nothing on it. Goes into there. Notes. No admittance except on party business. My mum actually went to Hobbiton and she gave me that photo, so I decided to poke that in there. And then this was obviously what happened on Saturday. That was obviously my... Yeah. My to-do list for the day. Here, I drew some butterflies on this note page. If you guys have read A Court of Thorns and Roses series, as I mentioned before, if you haven't, do it. If you have, this is Azriel. It is shadows and no clothes on, which is how I envision all of the men from Court of Thorns and Roses. I shouldn't say that out loud, should I? Internet. Here, the page with the doily that I absolutely adored, and I wrote 2 things in it. Yeah, weeklies were sort of not working for me at this point. Just some writing here. I think that's actually creative writing. It is. Over here, I have got, this is Haku. If you have seen Spirited Away, you will know who Haku is. If you have not seen Spirited Away, get yourself to the TV or the computer or the streaming or however it is, and get your hands on it because it's amazing. And I love Haku so much. And there's Navi, just because he needed someone to talk to. So, and, Cherry Blossoms, why not? I love Haku so much. He's fabulous. Some more writing. And then another name tag. I made an order at Fox and Cactus, and I got a postcard, and I was feeling pretty dandy about that. So I stuck it in. Rivers desexing operation information. Some more notes on my stories. This is a postcard. I found this postcard. I did not know I had this. And it is from my grandma and grandpa, who are now both no longer with us. And it was sent to me in 1994. So I would have been in grade 4. So I was like 9. And yeah, I might have cried a little bit when I found this. This was sent to me and my brother because they're no longer with us. So I just poked that in there because that's the day that I found it. And then some little dragonies sticking out of the top of that pocket. So I figured that it's as safe in there as anywhere else. Here I've got, clearly I had a sore wrist that day. And then this was my April monthly calendar that I obviously finished and stuck in there because it's no longer April anymore. This little unicorn who I absolutely adore. Bit of a watercolor unicorn in there. May, no birthdays and clearly no goals because I've got a couple of, I've got a land dragon and a sea dragon in there. Clearly they were my goals. I achieved land dragon status and I was aiming for sea dragon. She's kind of cute actually. She turned out really nice. Here I have got this weekly layout I did not use, but I loved the cherry blossoms. I had one thing written in there. So I decided to draw this gorgeous sort of winged guy in here. And it was only after I drew him and I added Na'vi, because I've been adding Na'vi to everything. I realized after I'd colored him and after I'd added Na'vi, and I leant back and I showed it to Piper and I said, what do you think? And she was like, Mummy, why did you draw Link with wings? Link doesn't have any wings. And I was like, oh my God, it's totally Link. But that was not my initial plan. So if Link ever grew a pair of wings and went flying with Na'vi, that might be what he looks like. Over here, this is Dragonair. Oh my goodness. I was like, it's a Dratini. It's not a Dratini, it's a Dragonair. This was the day that A Court of Frost and Starlight came out, which was the latest book in the Court of Thorns and Roses series. And as you can see here, I cancelled the day. And I did. I read the entire book in the day because I was just like, must have. So over here, clearly Mum and I had pies and sauce that day. And there is a little dragon kitty thing. She's really cute in there. Notes. And then this day I did nothing. I drew this really out of proportion dragon with his tiny wings that would never work. But I loved this quote. Don't fashion me into a maiden that needs saving from a dragon. I am the dragon and I will eat you whole. And that is pretty much my outlook on life. Or try to be anyway. Here is the actual swatch card out of that Designs by Rachel Beth set. Clearly I didn't get it on that day. It's mentioned way back there. But I moved the actual half pans out of the original tin and into my normal watercolor palette. So I just stuck it in there and I did some swatching. And there is a Unimade Mermicorn. There's that. And then in here, in this weekly, I have a quote from the Court of Thorns and Roses series. The quickest way to a man's heart is through the 4th and 5th ribs. And then this is the end of the journal. And obviously I basically had given up by this point. And I was intending to come back and draw some pretty pictures and do some watercolor in there, because the only thing on these 2 pages is a hamburger order. But I just thought, you know what? This is part of the experiment. This is sort of how it worked out. And from here I decided that I needed to have journals that I wrote and drew in, because I actually wanted to journal in this. Partway through this book I wanted to start journaling. And I had nowhere to write because I had pre-drawn it all. And I was like, well, this is the reason I moved away from a pre-drawn planner in the first place. It's because I wanted more room. I wanted the freedom of bullet journaling. So I have gone back to, as you guys have seen on my Journal With Me's and Plan With Me's on the channel already, I went back to an organic style of planning where I just write it as I need it. I write in it as I want to write in it. If I skip a day, it doesn't matter. There's no, if I want to art, I can art. If I don't, then I don't. It's sort of very gone back to that. And I'm really, really enjoying it. And I know that that's probably my home. The only thing that made me sad was that I really wanted to do all this arty stuff, you know, all the time. but it's just not possible. It's not realistic. And I was kind of like, oh, one day I'm going to come back and I'm going to look at this journal, and all it's going to have in it is my writing. But you know what? Something I've discovered since losing my grandma, who's the postcards from her, as you saw before, that writing to me is precious. All that is writing, but she's gone now. And when I read that, I can hear her voice. So I realized that it's not just about the art and the decoration and the paper craft and all that stuff is fun, and I love it, and I still do it. But for me, it's about writing down those parts of my life that one day, and touch wood, it's not anytime soon, somebody might look back on that and feel connected when I'm no longer here anymore. And that to me is, well, I mean, that's the whole point of a journal, right? So on that very sensitive and emotional moment, that's it. This journal is officially done and flipped as promised. I loved working in this journal so much. At the moment, I do not have another Leuchtturm in my bookshelf, only because I promised that I would work through my bookshelf and use all of the blank notebooks that I've already got. But I can safely say that if I had the opportunity to purchase another one and give it a go, I would. I've also heard good things about Scribbles That Matter, and there was another brand that I really liked to try as well, and I can't remember what it was. But for me, for what I did, I loved the Leuchtturm. It's held together. It's put up with what I've thrown it. As you can see, it is way, way fatter than what it is supposed to be. The original spine's about 1/2 inch wide, and I have chunked her right out to, let's give it about there. So that's like 2.5 inches, nearly 3 inches at the fattest point. So it's taken a lot of beating, and it's holding together superbly. So whereas I know that some of the other notebooks, people have had to do surgery on their journals and cut them in half, but it's held together really well. The spine hasn't broken, it hasn't collapsed. It's just gotten on with the job. So I'm going to stop talking now. Thanks very much for joining me. I hope that wherever you are, you're having a fabulous day, and I hope you enjoyed that little look through my arty, journaly life stuff. And I will see you guys next time.